Students, welcome to our science program. Today we will have a new revision about many concepts about our science course. Today we'll have revision about theories of the solar system and Big Bang theory and types of cell division like mitosis and meiosis and types of reproduction which are sexual and asexual. So let's start our revision. General revision. Choose. First, asexual reproduction in yeast fungus take place by budding, gametes, or binary fission. Okay, asexual reproduction in yeast fungus take place by budding, gametes, or binary fission. Try to think. Right, it's budding. Budding is the way of asexual reproduction in yeast fungus. Next one. The object is at distance larger than focal length and smaller than twice focal length. So the image will be okay. In this case, the object is between focus and center. So when the object is between focus and center, the image will be virtual enlarged, real enlarged, virtual smaller, real smaller. Try to think. When the object is between center of curvature and focus, image will be right, real, and enlarged, real and enlarged and inverted. Next one. Space contains the genetic traits from the two parents. Okay, what is the structure that contains genetic traits from two parents? Gamete, or zygote, or cytoplasm, or chromosome. Try to think. Right, of course, it's zygote. Zygote that's formed by fertilization process from combination of sperm and ovum, or in other words, male gamete and female gametes. So it contains genetic traits of the two parents. Next one. The crossing over happen in telophase, anaphase 2, metaphase 2, prophase 1. Try to think. Of course, in prophase 1 in meiosis division. Next one. The meiosis division happen in space cells. Okay. Liver, ovary, testes, ovary and testes. Okay. Meiosis division occurs in reproductive cells. So liver, of course, it's a wrong answer because liver is somatic cell. Okay, ovary from reproductive cells and testes also contains reproductive cells. So the most correct answer is ovary and testes. Meiosis division happen in ovary and testes to form gametes. Ovum in the case of ovary and sperms in the case of testes. Next one. Disappearance of parental cell during reproduction in. What is the type of reproduction in which the parent cell disappeared? Yeast, bacteria, bread mold, all of them. Okay, yeast reproduces asexually by budding. It forms a bud and form a new offspring that can separate from it and still connect it to form a colony. So, in this case, parent cell doesn't disappear. Okay, what about bread mold? Bread mold reproduces by sporangium or spore propagation. In this case, sporangium open and spores spread in the environment. But in this case, the parent cell doesn't disappear. So here the answer is bacteria that reproduces asexually by binary fission. It divides itself to new offsprings and the parent cell disappeared. Next one. The scientist who established modern theory is Newton, Fred Hoyle, Moulton, Chamberlain. Okay, Newton has many laws about gravity or attraction force. Chamberlain and Moulton are founders of, we are right, crossing star theory, but the scientist who established modern theory is Fred Hoyle. Fred Hoyle. Next one. Space is used to measure the speed of the car. What is the device that is used to measure the speed of the car? Speedometer, thermometer, barometer? Of course, the answer is speedometer is a device that is used to measure the speed of the car. Next one. Body is placed in front of concave mirror at a certain distance from its pole. No image is formed on the screen. That is due to the body is at the focus, oblique, on the distance more than focal length of the mirror. Okay, what is the reason of avoid formation of image here? Of course, because the object is placed at the focus. When the object is placed at the focus, reflected rays are parallel, so they will never intersect and form image. So when the object is placed at the focus, no image will be formed because reflected rays are parallel. Next one. Lens is placed in passage of sun rays. Very small image is formed at distance 10 centimeters. Okay, when the image of the sun is formed, so this point is called focus. So here we have an information which is focal length of this lens is equal 10 centimeters. The same lens is used to obtain virtual, enlarged and erect or upright image of a body. In which distance the body is found? 5 centimeters, 10 centimeters, 15 centimeters, 20 centimeters. Okay, to have virtual and enlarged image, object must be right at distance less than focal length. So here focal length is 10 centimeters. We have a number less than 10. So the answer is right, 5 centimeters. When we put the object at distance 5 centimeters, so here the object at distance less than focal length. So image will be virtual, upright, and enlarged. Next one. Arrange the following events according to the time of their occurrence, of course related to history of universe after the Big Bang. The birth of the sun and creation of Earth, formation of galaxies, gaseous ball from which universe was formed, expanded and exploded. The earliest life began to appear on Earth, and our galaxy Milky Way took its disk form. We have here 5 events. We want to arrange them starting from Big Bang till now. So, number 1, of course, gaseous ball from which universe was formed and expanded. This is explosion of Big Bang that is formed 2 gases which are hydrogen and helium. Next, formation of old galaxies. And next, our galaxy Milky Way took its disk form. It's about 5,000 million years after Big Bang. Fourth, the born of the sun and creation of earth about 10,000 million years after the Big Bang. And finally, earliest life began to appear on earth. It's about 12,000 millions of years after the Big Bang. Next. Mention the function or the importance of convex mirror. Used in parks and cars to form virtual upright and smaller image. Used in parks and cars to form virtual upright and smaller image. Next one. Nanotechnology. Nanotechnology. What is the use of nanotechnology? Of course, used in the treatment of cancer by gold molecules. Treatment of cancer by gold molecules. Next one. Our problems. Car covers 120 meters in 1 minute and 60 meters in the next minute. Calculate its, number one, speed at the first minute. Okay, speed, we knew that. Distance over time. So, 120 over 60 equal 2 meters per second. So, the speed at the first minute is 2 meters per second. Next. Speed at the second minute. Okay, of course, we must convert the minute also into seconds. So, speed equal distance over time, 60 over 60. So, the speed in the second minute is 1 meter per second. 1 meter per second. Okay, what about the average speed of the car during the total time? So, average speed equals total distance divided by total time. So, 120 plus 60 over 60 plus 60, the 2 minutes. So here, average speed will be 1.5 meter per second. Meter per second is the measuring unit also of average speed. Next one. Train covered distance 100 kilometers in 2 hours. Find the speed of the train. So here, speed equal distance over time, 100 over 2, so the speed is 50 kilometers per hour. Kilometers per hour. When the distance in kilometers and time in hours, so speed measuring unit is kilometer per hour. Next one. Car start its motion from rest and after 4 seconds speed become 12 meters per second. Calculate acceleration. So, acceleration equal v2 minus v1 over time, 12 minus 0 over 4. So, acceleration is 3 meters per second power 2. Next one. Within 2.5 seconds, the speed of car increased from 60 to 65 meters per second, while a bike moved from rest and speed reaches 7.5 meters per second in 3 seconds. So, which of them moved at greater acceleration? Okay, here we have 2 problems. We must calculate acceleration of the car first, then acceleration of the bike to compare between them. So, let's start calculation of acceleration of the car. Of course, v2, which is final speed, minus v1, which is initial speed over the time. So here, 65 minus 60 over 2.5. So, acceleration of the car is 2 meters per second power 2. So, what about the acceleration of the bike? Let's calculate it. Acceleration of the bike, v2 of course, minus v1, over time. So 7.5 minus 0, because of course it starts its motion from rest. So initial speed equal 0. Over time equal 2.5 meter per second power 2. So here acceleration of the bike is greater than the car. Next one. Racer covered 50 meter northward in 30 seconds. Then 100 meter eastward in 60 seconds. Then 50 meters southward in 10 seconds. And then return back to the start point in 40 seconds. So, how long its total distance the racer moved? Okay, in our previous revision, we had another problem similar to this. But in the previous problem, the racer moved from A to B to C and D and stop. But in this one, racer get back to the starting point. So here, total distance is from A to B, and from B to C, and from C to D, and from D to A. This is new one. So here, total distance 100 plus 50 plus 100 plus 50. So total distance here is 300 meters. 300 meters. What is the average speed of the racer? Of course, we knew that average speed is total distance divided by total time. So average speed, total distance divided by total time, 300 meter over 140 seconds. Okay, let's calculate the total time. 30 from A to B, 60 from B to C, 10 from C to D, and here we have 40 from D to A, because racer is returned back to the starting point. So 300 over 140, the average speed is 2.14 meter per second. Okay, what about the displacement? Okay, displacement is the straight line between starting point and final point or ending point. So here, the starting point is the same ending point. So there is no displacement in this case, and displacement equal 0 because the starting point is the same final point. Next one. Person stands at distance of 4 meters from plane mirror. What is the distance between him and his image? Okay, let's remember the properties of plane mirror, which are virtual, upright, equal in size, laterally inverted or reversed, distance between the object and the mirror, equal distance between image and the mirror, and the straight line between the object and the image is perpendicular on the reflecting surface. So, when the object is at distance 4 meters from the mirror, so distance between person and his image will be 4 plus 4 equal 8 meters. 4 outside the mirror and 4 inside the mirror. So the total distance here is 8 meters. Next one. Fred Hoyle depends on scientific fact to make its imagination about formation of solar system. Discuss this statement showing. Number 1. Illustrate this fact. Okay. Here, sometimes star in the sky glows for days, then return to its normal nature. That is happened due to nuclear reaction that happened suddenly, producing great amount of gases. So, explosion of stars, it's a fact, and happen due to nuclear reaction that happen suddenly, and this explosion producing great amount of gases. This is the principle or the fact of Fred Hoyle in his theory. Okay, the important hypothesis of Fred Hoyle imagination. Okay, there was a star rotating near the sun, and this star exploded due to huge nuclear reaction. The explosion pumped the nucleus of the star away from gravity of the sun, and cloud of gases remained, and after cooling formed the planets. This is the explanation of Fred Hoyle about formation of planets of the solar system. And attraction force of the sun controlled the orbits of planets around it. So here, the origin of planets in this theory is the star that was rotating near the sun. Here we can see first, at the right, the star that rotating near the sun. This star explodes due to nuclear reaction, and its nucleus is pumped away due to the explosion. A very big cloud of gases is remained, and after cooling formed the planets of the solar system, and attraction force of the sun controlled their orbits around it. Next, what will happen? The gravitational force between planets and the sun disappear. Okay, of course we knew that planets rotate around the sun due to the attraction force of the sun. But what happened in the case of disappearance of this gravitational force? Of course, planets will leave their orbits and float in space and easily can be destroyed. Plane mirror is used instead of convex mirror in the cars. Of course, we use convex mirror in cars or side mirror of cars to form small image, upright image of the road behind the driver. So we form a small image to form the road behind the driver to be clear. So if we use plane mirror instead of it, it will form equal image instead of smaller image for the road behind the driver. Okay, instead of a smaller image, and it will not be clear. Next one, what will happen if yeast fungus is put in warm sugar solution? Okay, yeast fungus is unicellular organism and reproduce asexually by budding. So the answer is yeast will reproduce asexually by budding, forming small bud and new offspring that can separate from it or still connected to form colony. Next one, putting an object in front of convex lens at its focus. What happens if you put an object in front of convex lens at its focus? Try to think. Excellent, of course. Light ray will refract parallel and no image will be formed because parallel rays will not be intersected. So here, if the object is at the focus of the lens, no image will be formed because refracted rays will be parallel. The nebula loses its heat in Laplace opinion. What happened? Right? Its size decreased and speed of rotation increased, and its shape changed by centrifugal force into flat rotating disk. And this disk forming rotating gaseous circles that formed the planets of the solar system. Spindle fibers shrink in anaphase. What happened? In spindle fibers shrink in anaphase. Okay, the answer is they split chromosomes into two identical groups of chromatids at the two poles of the cell that prepare the division of cell in the final phase, which is telophase, to form two new cells. Next one. Illustrate with drawing the formation of gametes. Okay, here we want diagram of meiosis division. It starts with parent cell. So here, forming, after replication of DNA, forming two daughter cells, and these two daughter cells divide again in meiosis II to form four daughter cells again, which are gametes, and they contain half number of chromosomes, which is N chromosome. Compare between nebular theory and crossing star theory. Okay. Nebular theory made by the scientist Laplace and states that solar system was glowing gaseous sphere revolving around itself called nebula. As the time passes, nebula lost its heat, so its size decreased and its revolving speed increased. So, under the effect of centrifugal force, nebula became in flat disk form. So, parts got separated by the centrifugal force to form rotating gaseous circles. The gaseous circles, after cooling, formed the planets, and the flaming mass in the center formed the sun. So, in nebular theory that is made by Laplace, the origin of planets is nebula, which is gaseous sphere. The crossing star theory. Crossing star theory. Okay, made by Chamberlain and Moulton. Made by two scientists, Chamberlain and Moulton. Okay. This star attracts part of the sun material, causing great expansion in the part of sun facing it. So, great star approached near the sun and causing attraction force. Great expansion is formed from the sun due to attraction force of this crossing star. This expanded part was exploded, forming gaseous line of great length. So, the sun escaped from gravity of the star due to explosion, and the gaseous line condensed due to attraction forces and forming planets after cooling. In this theory, the origin of planets of the solar system is the sun. Planets came out from the sun. And this is crossing star, and this is the expanded part from the sun that exploded and formed the planets of the solar system. This is the crossing star theory that made by Chamberlain and Moulton. Dear students, at the end of our revision, don't forget the main concepts about motion and about mirrors and lenses, and theories that explain the origin of solar system, which are nebular theory that made by Laplace and crossing star theory that made by Chamberlain and Moulton, and the modern theory that made by Fred Hoyle. Thank you very much, and till we meet again, goodbye.